Have you heard the legend? That there was originally no day or night in the desert, in that land, where only an endless blood-red twilight reigned. The god of death, Naksar, once paused at the sound of a woman's voice. I will tell you the story of how that cruel being, who regarded human suffering as entertainment, came to watch the breath of a storyteller instead of engaging in slaughter. A long time ago, there was no order of day and night in the desert. The desert was only an endless, dry day. In that land, there was a blind woman named Shara. Shara was the daughter of a merchant, and her father, in search of a miraculous medicine to cure his daughter's eyes, ended up violating the oasis of the gods that no human should ever drink. This brought forth a dark curse that annihilated the entire family, and Shara, to lift the black shadow that had fallen upon her family, headed to the temple of Naksar, sacrificing herself. Although Shara could not see, she understood. What seeped onto the stone floor of the shrine was not just a simple chill. It was the emergence of Naksar, a colossal stillness, the very darkness of the desert, and death itself. He was the abyss of the black desert, a massive shadow that swallowed every breath, a mythical sense of oppression unimaginable to humans, weighed down on the entire temple. His appearance approached with the weight of silence, before the sound of footsteps. As I got closer to Naksar, the air in the temple grew cold, as if it were cutting through bone, and even the earth's presence froze in fear. Naksar looked down at Shara, who was sitting at his feet. In the past, countless sacrifices that faced him would scream or go mad just from seeing his horrific form. However, this frail woman was welcoming him only in the deep silence. As Naksar's long fingers traced the air, a single scented candle appeared before Shara, crackling as it ignited. Until the incense burns out, I will not take your soul. So struggle as much as you want. I find it quite enjoyable to watch humans cling to hope, only to ultimately collapse in misery. Naksar's voice was sharp and merciless, like a biting wind blowing from the edge of a cliff. Shara did not move at all. The cold eyes of Naksar narrowed at that strange indifference. Naksar opened his mouth toward Shara, who was maintaining her silence. Not being able to see has become a blessing for you. Can your soul remain so calm, even after seeing my form? Sarah quietly replied, gazing into the air with unseen eyes. Naksar, are you asking me about fear? Since I cannot see you, I can only feel the weight of the terrible loneliness that you exude. Do you know what it is that humans fear more than death? For Naksar, who is death itself, the question of what is greater than death was a strange stimulus. Shara softly parted her lips, feeling the direction of the smoke. A long time ago, on a blood-red cliff, there lived a man named Arkan in a city with a black door. People called him the one who mocks death. He laughed even when the blade touched his neck, and he didn't blink an eye on the blood-soaked battlefield. However, Naksar, that man was not smiling because he was brave. He was actually harboring something more unbearable than death. Just when the story was becoming the most interesting, Shara stopped speaking. The scent had already burned away, leaving only ashes. Naksar was engulfed in a strange thirst to know what the shadow that Arkan had harbored truly was. At the end of a dreadful silence, Naksar whispered softly and coolly, "It's the first time I've met a person who gives such a strange interest. All right, that's it for today. I'll come back tomorrow. Please tell me the rest of that man's story then." As Naksar moved away from the temple, the thick darkness slowly receded behind him. As the darkness faded, light began to rise again in that place. In the distant future, people called this fleeting moment when darkness receded and light rose dawn. And from that day on, a new order emerged in the desert, with nights where darkness lingered and days that followed its retreat. Shara quietly exhaled a sigh of relief as she felt the rising warmth from the altar she was left alone at. Although she had not completely overcome death this day, she had regained, felt warmer than usual. What price did Arkan have to pay at the door of oblivion? Next, I will tell you the story of the memories he tried so hard to protect and the cruel truth hidden behind them. How do you find the first episode of The Desert Storyteller? Please leave your thoughts in the comments.